Again, good evening, everybody. My name is Mark Riffey with Pioneer Community Energy. My watch is saying it's 6:05, so we'll go ahead and get this presentation started. I'll be turning it into PowerPoint slideshow in just a minute. Before we get started, I did want to introduce everybody to Alice Delton Calvillo. She is the mayor of Auburn, but she's also the chairperson of the board of Pioneer Community Energy. And she is here tonight just to demonstrate what the benefits of local are, but also she is a member of our community. So Alice, I'm going to turn the mic over to you.
Thank you so much, Mark, and good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning into this webinar today. As Mark said, my name is Alice Dowden Calvillo. I am the mayor of the city of Auburn, which of course is in Placer County, so I'm your neighbor. But I do also chair the Pioneer Community Energy Board of Directors, because Pioneer, the board of directors, is actually comprised of all local elected officials in the service area that Pioneer serves. So right now, sitting on our board of directors, you have myself for the city of Auburn. We have a city councilman from members from Lincoln and Rockland and Loomis and Colfax. And we have supervisors from Placer County and El Dorado County Board of Supervisors, as well as a city councilman from Placerville that sit on the board of directors. So we truly are a nonprofit entity here to sell power at a cheaper rate than PG&E in a more transparent manner. Again, the board of directors, we don't have shareholders. We're completely nonprofit. And one of the, some of the many benefits to Pioneer really is that, again, you have that local control. We are your elected officials. We also strive to buy our power from local providers. That's important to us. So just like we like to encourage people to shop local, we like to do the same at Pioneer. And we purchase power from Placer County Water Agency and other different providers of electricity. We do sometimes have to go outside of our region just because of supply, but we do look for that local buy. And we're also, a big part of the community as well. Again, we're elected officials that make up your board, but Pioneer really strives to be part of the community because we are part of the community. We have a much smaller area than PG&E. But we truly do care for our customers, and I'll tell you, customer service, you can't beat it with Pioneer. If you have questions on your bill, they're fantastic. But there's just, again, many benefits to Pioneer, lower rates. And that is one of our main focuses, is to ensure that you are paying less for power. Right now in Placer County, our customers are saving about 15% on their electrical rates. And so I don't know about you, but every penny counts for my household. And so we're really grateful for the opportunity to have a choice. And that's really what Pioneer provides, is a choice, because you can make your choice to go local, or you can stay with PG&E, of course. So, but anyway, thank you so much for taking your time today to listen to our webinar and to learn more about Pioneer. And welcome. We're looking forward to serving Grass Valley, Nevada City in 2024. Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you again, Alice. I appreciate your time and your commitment to Pioneer. So before I get started, we've got the slide up. So if somebody cannot see it, please let me know. I think everybody can see it. We'll go ahead and dive in and get going. Again, we were just recently approved to provide service to Grass Valley and Nevada City. This does not include unincorporated Nevada County. At the time, the Nevada County Board of Supervisors elected to not participate, but Grass Valley and Nevada City has moved forward. I can say that Nevada County is talking about joining in a future date, like January of 2025. So if you live outside of the incorporated cities, you could still listen to this. It will be still relevant, just not in January of 2024. First question we get a lot of times is, who is Pioneer? So we're a joint powers authority. We're a not-for-profit agency. We're a local agency. This year, we're celebrating our 5 years of providing low-cost electricity to our customers. We serve the town of Loomis and, like Alice said, the cities of Auburn, Colfax, Lincoln, Rockland, and we were doing most of Placer County, and that started in 2018. In January of 2022, we started serving the city of Placerville and most of unincorporated El Dorado County. We currently have about 158,000 accounts. We are not a middleman. We are not a broker. We are an alternative energy provider to PG&E. We provide electricity. The rates and programs that are offered are consistent with our local community goals. What is a CCA? A lot of people want to know what that is. That's a community choice aggregation. That is a state law that was passed in 2002. And what it basically does is allow cities and counties and similar agencies to get together and form entities, which is what happened with Pioneer, that takes over the responsibility of buying power for the constituents within that communities. We're not the first ones to do this. The first ones launched in 2010. There are currently 25 CCAs statewide, serving well over 11 million customers. The leadership, and again, Alice mentioned this a bit, the governance and how we are run. We have a 9-member board today. Every member agency has a seat on our board. Grass Valley and Nevada City will each be given a seat on our board as well. And the voting is 1 seat, 1 vote. We don't vote by population. We don't vote by electrical load. So Nevada City has the same voting power as unincorporated El Dorado County, Rockland, and any other represented member agency. Who can join a CCA and Pioneer? The first thing that happened is the city council has to vote to approve. The City Council of Nevada City and Grass Valley, each independent, have to vote to move forward with joining Pioneer. All the customers in that jurisdiction are automatically signed up for Pioneer, and I'll explain that in just a minute to all of you. Customers can remain with PG&E if they want. It's a simple opting out of Pioneer, and they just need to contact Pioneer and let us know that they want to opt out. It's a simple process. There's no cost for doing that, and can be done at any time. However, the automatic enrollment is going to take place in January of 2024. If you opted out greater than 60 days after that, so sometime in April or later, you're required to stay with PG&E for a minimum of 12 months. That's not a Pioneer rule, that's a PG&E rule. What's in it for me? What's in it for Grass Valley, Nevada City? That's what a lot of people want to know. The first thing is choice. For the first time ever, you as a resident and business can choose your energy provider. When we all moved up here to the foothills, we didn't have a choice, right? We basically were told PG&E is it. PG&E is the provider of electricity unless you went off the grid. Today, or in January 2024, you're going to be able to choose who you want to buy your power from. PG&E will still control the poles and wires. Pioneer will be the one selling you the electricity that you're purchasing. What that means is the example I always use to people is PG&E is UPS. They deliver products to your house, to your business. The boxes on the truck can either be Pioneer boxes or PG&E boxes. So you get to choose who you buy your products from, but PG&E will still be responsible for delivering it to you. You will still be required to pay PG&E for the delivery cost. The generation cost would come from Pioneer. And overall, as it says right there, you'll be experiencing savings of 15 to 20% a year on generation costs, which equates to about $100, is what it is for customers in Nevada City, Grass Valley, that would be joining us. Based on today's rates, we're comfortable saying that all standard residential customers on an E1 rate are guaranteed savings with Pioneer. Some additional benefits to Grass Valley, Nevada City. PG&E is owned by shareholders, and there's a slide later, I'll dive into that a little deeper. CCA Pioneers were owned by the constituents, by you all. Again, our board is made up of elected officials who are placed in their position because of the vote of the constituents. So we work for the constituents. It's our objective to make sure that we're supporting the desires and needs of our board, who are also interested in what the constituents would like to see out of it. There's local control. There's many, many examples of the benefits of local control. Alice already talked about energy procurement. It's not only where you buy your energy from, but what type of energy you'd like to buy. For example, on Pioneer, the state has a mandate for renewables that says today it's 30 8%, then it's going to go up to 41, 40, and eventually we're going to be at 100%. That's statewide. We're all going to get there eventually. Pioneer's board has set a directive of we want to have the lowest cost possible for our ratepayers, for the constituents, for you all. And as a result, we meet the state mandate, but we don't look to exceed that unless it's a cost-effective alternative. Other CCAs, especially in the Bay Area, are not worried about the cost. Their goal and their objective is just to say, we want to be 100% renewable, but you pay for that. So the board decides what is our objective on energy procurement, setting of rates. We have an energy and finance, a finance committee and a rates committee made up of board members that go through and discuss setting of our budgets, establishing rates to support the organization. Those meetings, by the way, are public. You can attend our rates and finance meeting. You can attend our board meetings, and you can have your chance to speak on those topics. Programs, we'll be talking in a minute about some community advisory committees that we've created to help us design and implement programs. We generate jobs. We generate jobs not just through Pioneer, but by supporting local businesses and buying local as much as we can. Environmental and social goals. Pioneer is the only agency in the area that offers 100% green renewable option, where you can say, I choose to buy 100% of my power from a renewable source. And it's available to you as a result of requests from the customers and implementation by our board. And finally, your city has provided your choice again. The important piece here is our last bullet. Pioneer customers are still eligible for all PG&E programs. So if you're on the Care or Fair program, or you have a med rate, or there's a rebate you're looking to take advantage of through PG&E, you can still take advantage of all those programs with Pioneer. How did Nevada City get here? It is not something that started last week. This is not something that we just put together. We've been working with Grass Valley and Nevada City for a long time. In the case of Grass Valley, we started back in March. In Nevada City, we started in August. You all had a newly hired city manager that, quite frankly, he said he needed to get up to speed on other issues. And we had been talking with him. And in August, Nevada City's City Council approved Pioneer moving forward with doing an impact assessment study. And what that study showed was, what is the benefit to Pioneer and what is the benefit to the residents and businesses of Nevada City? In September, the Pioneer board approved starting the process to have Nevada City join our JPA. The interesting thing about this is, in a CCA world, first is the Nevada City Council has to vote to say, yes, we want to join the CCA. But then equally important is the CCA board of directors has to vote to say, yes, we want that community to join our organization because it's a like-minded communities. You know, Alice is the mayor of Auburn. A lot of us live up in North Placer or South Nevada County. Heck, my kids went to Bear River and Magnolia and whatnot in South Nevada County and stuff. And we've been up to, my wife and I go to Grass Valley, Nevada City, it seems like daily. Almost my folks live up there. So we want to make sure that we are meeting and we are partnering with communities that are similar to us. It really doesn't behoove the benefit of the foothill communities if Berkeley was to join Pioneer and start wanting to do things the way the Bay Area folks do it. We're not Bay Area folks. So then October was the first reading of the ordinance and the submittal of the resolution. And then in November, there was a second reading of the ordinance in which the City Council approved. And then finally in November, the Pioneer Board voted to amend the JPA, and in December, we submitted the application to the California Public Utilities Commission. Just because Pioneer would like Nevada City to join and Nevada City would like to join, that still has to be approved by the California Public Utilities Commission. All of that was taking place in 2022, along with countless other meetings. So what's happening in 2023? Well, actually just a week ago, the California Public Utilities Commission approved the implementation plan, which means that we have the go-ahead to move forward with the expanding of Pioneer into Grass Valley and Nevada City. In March, we're conducting these town hall meetings, and here we are. I do apologize for not being up there in person. We'd love to do these in person. Personally, I think there's a lot more value in that. But with the weather, we thought it was out of the safety for our own staff as well as for the residents of Nevada City, Nevada County area. We wanted to do it just remote. We will be back up there. We're going to do it again in May, early May, once I talk to the city managers and we get it on the calendars, so we can do it in person, because I want to meet people. I want to have a face-to-face conversation. In the spring of 2023, the city councils will be allowed to appoint a representative to the Pioneer Board, and they can then start attending those meetings and representing your community. So Nevada City will have a seat on our board and a vote 6 to 9 months before we start serving Nevada City. That seat is not held until January 1st. So your representatives are involved well before we start providing energy. And then again, in July of 2023, we're going to be up there in earnest. I promise you, we're going to be throughout the communities. And one thing I would ask and offer up is, if anybody has a neighborhood organization or a Lions Club or an HOA association or a chamber, if you would like us to come and talk to that group and help get the word out, we are all for it. I can tell you that in less than 90 days up in El Dorado County, when we expanded into El Dorado County, in less than 90 days, we held over 40 in-person meetings throughout the whole entire county. And so our goal is, by starting in July, we'll be able to do even more of them, but also reach more and more groups. So if it's the PTA, if it's anything, just reach out to us, let us know, and we'll be there. That's our goal, to be there. And then again, in January 2024, you're going to be getting service from Pioneer. Just so you know, the way that works is, if you look at your bill, today it's going to say your bill is due March, or your bill period goes from February 25th to March 24th. So when it comes around to January, it's going to be December 25th to January 24th. On January 25th, you become a Pioneer customer. So the person down the street could join January 4th. You might join January 8th, and the guy around the corner might be January 20th. Throughout that 30-day window, the whole entire city will be enrolled automatically in Pioneer. It's just on your meter date. So what changes come January 1st? So this is just a little summary list here. So today, PG&E is buying your power. After January 1st of 24, Pioneer will start buying your power on your behalf. One thing that doesn't change is PG&E will continue to maintain the transmission line distributions up to the meter is owned by PG&E, and it will continue to be owned by PG&E. PG&E will provide customer service today. They will continue to provide customer service after January 1st of 24, but yet Pioneer will also provide customer service. Now, if you have a power outage or there is a downline and it's a safety hazard and stuff, you will still be contacting PG&E, because again, they own the poles and wires, and we are not allowed, and we don't have the assets to go fix that. That's property of PG&E. That being said, I'll provide you an example of a customer that called me from Colfax after the last horrible winter storm. A pole in the backyard of his property was red tagged because it needed to be replaced because it was going to fall. And after about a month's time, he called Pioneer and spoke to me because he was greatly concerned because PG&E had come out there. So I got all of his information. I contacted our liaison. CCAs have a special liaison. I contacted our liaison and raised the red flag to this gentleman. And the very next week, that pole was replaced and the customer felt safer. So while we don't control and own that equipment, we can greatly be the louder squeaky wheel, shall we say, through another channel and help get those problems resolved. And then finally is customer billing. You're still going to get the same PG&E bill, and you're still going to pay PG&E. And then PG&E transfers to us whatever funds are owed to Pioneer. The difference being is how that bill looks. If you're curious what your bill is going to look like and what that means and how do you read it, we have videos that are on our website of how to read your bill and understanding your bill. PG&E bills are confusing today, even if you don't have Pioneer. What basically happens is you get another line item on your bill that says Pioneer and another page that says Pioneer charges. It's not an extra charge. People believe it's an extra charge. The reality of the matter is it is subtracted from the PG&E section of the bill and then put into the Pioneer line item. And overall, it will be a savings to you. But between now and January 2024, I would encourage you to watch these videos, understand it, give us a call. We're happy to walk you through. An example of your savings from Pioneer versus PG&E. So column on the left is, you can see that's for your standard residential E1 residential customer. PG&E has well over 80 tariffs and rates, and so we cannot do this for every single one because it's crazy. Most of us are standard E1 customers. These are not your solar customers. These are your regular non-solar customers. And the categories of the bill are what's listed there. The first column is your so-called Pioneer Standard. When you get automatically enrolled, this is the column you're going to be in. The middle column is your Pioneer Green 100. That's if you raise your hand and say, I want to make sure 100% of my power comes from renewable sources. And that third column is if you remain a PG&E bundled customer. And you can see the first line, PG&E's generation rate is significantly higher than Pioneer's. Pioneer, the green rate is $7.07. And this is assuming an average customer of 650 kWh. What I'd encourage you to do is when you look at your bills, look at the kWh. And if you're below 650 or above 650, then you'll get an idea of what your bill should look like and what your savings could be. So the important thing is that third line there of PG&E delivery rate. This is what it costs PG&E to deliver the power to your house or your business. Well, I'm sorry, this is a house because it's E1 rate. That's the same price whether you're a Pioneer customer or a PG&E customer. And when you get to the bottom line down there, on that fourth line, I'm sorry, is the PG&E PCIA and FFS charge. PCIA is power charge and difference adjustment, and FFS is franchise-free surcharge. Those are two fees that you also pay PG&E, but they're actually embedded in your rate, in a bundled rate, and so you don't see that. But when you become a Pioneer customer, we have to add those back in because the FFS is a pass-through that PG&E passes on, and the PCIA is a fee that all of us pay PG&E for past contracts, and we have to, the PUC has allowed them to collect extra. You can see that the difference is not even $1. So it's not significant. That number changes every year. So it's important in January to understand what that PCIA and FFS number will be, because that does swing the potential savings. And at the bottom there, you can see again about $100, 9.4% or so on generation rate is what your expected savings are. On your bills, you have a PG&E, you have the gas section, natural gas section, unless you have propane. Then you have the PG&E transmission and distribution piece, that's for delivery of the power to your house. And then you have the Pioneer generation, if you're a Pioneer customer. The Pioneer generation accounts for approximately 30% of your electric bill. Transmission and distribution is 70%, and then gas is a whole other monster. So you can see there are savings. Even as a Green 100 customer, you're going to realize savings. It's less than $1, but that's also knowing you're getting 100% of your power from renewable sources. So how does enrollment happen? How does it go through? The first is the middle section there, and that's when enrollment begins. And again, it's in January-ish, depending upon your date. You're going to be notified 4 times in writing. Okay, so in 4 different times, you're going to get a notification from Pioneer that says you're about to enroll. 60 days prior and 30 days prior, you're going to get a notice that says, hey, we're coming. You're going to be enrolled. Pay attention. It's going to show up on your bill. And then 30 and 60 days after, you're going to get a notification that says you're now enrolled with Pioneer. Thank you very much. So you have an opportunity during that period to be reminded that you're now a Pioneer customer. During that 60 days before and that 60 days after, you can opt out at any time you want. I've said you can opt out anytime you want afterwards if you'd like to, but during that 60 days before and after, you can opt out anytime you'd like. And if you decide 2 weeks later to come back to Pioneer, you can, because that 12-month commitment does not start with PG&E until after that 60 days after your automatic enrollment date. And so that's where, you know, we want to do the evaluation during this period of time so that you can have that ability to make decisions accordingly. The reason that we do automatic enrollment is the state has decided, back when they created this bill, that in an effort to provide energy equity to all of us, they wanted to do 100% automatic enrollment, and then customers can opt out as they see fit. The concern was if we did not do it that way, some organizations and none of them, of course, would admit to that, and Pioneer is certainly not that way, is they would look at and say, we want to go after the top 20 commercial accounts because then we don't have to deal with 20 customers and we don't have to deal with anybody else. And what their fear is that certain customer classes would be not given the opportunity to realize the same savings as others. And so because of energy equity, they've said, we're going to do this, and this is how we're going to roll it out. Opting out. So again, Pioneer customers can opt out anytime, but you cannot opt out more than 60 days prior to your automatic enrollment. That is for sure. There's no fee to opt out of Pioneer. There's no cost. We will let you opt out at any time you'd like to once you're eligible. After the 60 days after automatic enrollment, if it's beyond that time period, you have to decide which of your methods you want to return to PG&E. And one of them is the immediate return to PG&E on a so-called transitional rate for 6 months, and then a standard rate for 12 months, or 6-month waiting period with Pioneer, and then a 12-month standard rate commitment with PG&E. The transitional rate, the immediate return, is risky. And the reason it's risky was just experienced over the last 2 months. What they do is they base the price that they charge you on a transitional rate on market price for electricity. And when natural gas prices go through the roof like they have been over the last 60 days, 90 days, that electric generation rate that you're required to pay goes up astronomically. We've had customers call us in January and February and said they've seen bill increases of 250 to 300%. And those customers aren't Pioneer customers. Those are folks that went back to PG&E, chose the immediate return, and for the first 6 months, they're paying a significant fee, and PG&E has no forgiveness of that. They don't let you get out of it. They don't let you return to Pioneer. You're committed. So if you decide to opt out after the 60-day window, we would strongly encourage you to speak to somebody to understand the impacts. But more importantly, we'd like you to stay with us. And so we're hoping that you call us, talk to us, let us know your concerns, and maybe we can answer those before you go through the opt-out process. But again, there is no cost, and you can opt out anytime you'd like after you're eligible to opt out. A lot of people have questions and concerns about solar in the community, and does Pioneer work with solar? And we definitely have solar customers. We currently have over 30,000 solar customers that are Pioneer customers. Unfortunately, a lot of solar vendors will tell you that if you have solar, you must opt out of Pioneer, which is just unfortunately not true. Or it's fortunate that it's not true, but it's unfortunate that they're misleading the customers. And the reason they do that, quite honestly, is because it's easier for them. And they don't have to explain the difference between the two options. And so unfortunately, we have to help customers, hopefully before they've opted out, to understand the difference. We do bill analyses for customers upon request. And we've done hundreds and hundreds of them, and we do them every week, basically. Over 85% of those customers that we've done them for, we show a savings with Pioneer. And people go, wow, that's interesting. You know, you tell customers it's better to stay with PG&E, and we have done that. I have done that. I have sat next to one of my employees that I've heard her say you can save $5 with PG&E if you stay with PG&E or whatever the number is. And then you make that choice. There's other benefits of being a Pioneer customer, not just the cost, but if cost is your driver, there are instances where you would save money with PG&E. It doesn't happen very often. And before you make that leap of faith, shall we say, remember, I always tell people, and if there's one on the line, I apologize, but solar salespeople are generally commission-based salespeople, and Pioneer is a not-for-profit, and we don't get paid any commission, and our only objective is to make sure you have the information accurately so you can make the best decisions for you and your family. The next 2 points are really what differentiate us from Pioneer. And the first, or I'm sorry, from PG&E, Pioneer from PG&E. The first one is we pay ½ cent more than PG&E for any excess at the end of the annual cash out true-up process. So if you have a credit, we're going to pay you more for that. The next difference is PG&E does an annual true-up if you're currently a solar customer with PG&E. So basically you pay that $10, $12, whatever it is, every month. depending upon the days in the billing cycle. And at the end of 12 months, you write that check for whatever that number is, or you get a bill credit for whatever that number is. With Pioneer, that reconciliation process is done on a monthly basis. So instead of paying 10, 11 bucks a month, you might pay 50 bucks a month, 80 bucks a month, whatever it is that your net consumption is, but you don't have that big true up at the end of the 12-month period. And so it's a matter of, again, when we do the analysis for you, you can decide what's more beneficial for you. It's our goal, again, we do these one-on-one bill analyses for you throughout the year. And when the time comes and it's time for you to enroll, and if you have solar, definitely give us a call. Give us a couple days to get it done, because there will be a number of folks looking for that. But we definitely, and we're happy to support solar. So this slide here is kind of the area that I'm most proud of, and that is our advocacy and action. And what I mean by that is that one of the benefits of being a local entity and local control is we're out in the community with Sacramento and the legislators, as well as the California Public Utilities Commission, on behalf of our customers, alongside of our customers. And I always say there are times that we go out in front of our customers and we become the louder voice. And these are just a few examples that have taken place over the last couple of years and still ongoing. The PSPS events, I know you guys know all about the power safety shutoffs that have been going on for the last few years and whatnot. Pioneer seemed to experience a greater number of those when they first came out than other regions. The foothills, unfortunately, were susceptible to winds, fire, snow, etc., that cause these PSPS events. And so we started raising concerns not only at the California Public Utilities Commission directly, but also with the state California CCA, our lobbyist, our statewide agency. And as a result of that, PG&E and the other IOUs are now required to report out to the California Public Utilities Commission on a regular basis the number of PSPSs, the durations, the number of impacted folks, etc. And all that reporting came from Pioneer leading the charge with the other CCAs to hold PG&E accountable for these PSPS events. Well, unfortunately, shortly after that happened, PG&E came out with their new latest and greatest program, these EPSS events, and fast trips, we call them. And what that is they've done enhanced power safety shutoffs. And so what they do is during certain times of the year, they take this equipment and they reestablish and reset the sensitivity triggers, which causes localized shutoffs on a more frequent occurrence. And so they started running with those out, and they were doing a pilot. And again, in the foothills, we experienced a lot of those that seemed to be very disproportionate to other areas. And I'm not afraid to say that we were at a meeting just like we're having today, but it was in person up in the city of Georgetown in probably November of 2021, before we started serving El Dorado County. And there was 12 people there, and those folks were talking about these unexplained outages that were occurring, and the PG&E folks couldn't tell them what was going on. They were out a couple hours a day, half a day, whatever it was, but frequently they were being turned off. There was a school that had been shut off 7 times in the first month of the school year. And of course, we didn't know anything about this, so we actually started researching it, started making phone calls, and we learned all about this so-called EPSS program. And PG&E had done no notification, no promotion of it, no awareness campaigns or anything. So then again, Pioneer led the charge with the other CCAs, and we raised the issue to the California Public Utilities Commission. And it makes me very proud that the then president of the California Public Utilities Commissioner, Batcher is her name. She's gone now, but she was the president at the time. She actually, in 2 public forums, chastised PG&E for the EPSS events and the treatment of customers. And in a formalized letter, she did the same thing. And in one of her press conferences, she actually used and referenced the treatment of El Dorado County residents as an unacceptable way to treat customers for outages. And that started by 12 people in Georgetown raising their voice and raising their hand, and Pioneer taking the charge and run into the PUC with that. And today, PG&E is being required to do some additional reporting and raising the awareness and the notification. So all of us should be being notified of it far more frequently. And so those are two things that we've definitely led the charge on. AB 843 is a state bill that allows for biomass projects to be funded in small communities, in cities and counties, localized facilities where they can, create electricity using waste from the forests. And you all know, just like we all do, that we live up here, we have huge fire dangers and we have tons of fuel. And so this is something that the chief operating officer here at Pioneer was actually the lead subject matter expert testifying on this matter, and he helped get this bill passed. This bill is currently at the California Public Utilities Commission looking to get implemented. And when it does get implemented, that funding will be made available to our communities. We're talking to a number of agencies as well as large private organizations that are looking to use this not only to generate electricity, but also to help reduce fire risks, shall we say. And the final bullet there is localized spending. Alice talked about the power supply and buying from local producers. We have contracts with EID, Placer County Water Agency. There's a biomass facility down in Lincoln that we purchased from. For those of you, obviously you all are in Nevada County, NID is another agency that we would be looking at to buy power from. I can tell you, it's my understanding today that they're 100% contractually obligated with their generation. If when the time comes that they have capacity available to sell, Pioneer will definitely be reaching out to them and talking to them about that. But not just that, but beyond that, the printing and the mailing and anything that we do localized, we or just outside of power, we use local vendors. We always use local vendors. There's probably not much on the marketing, communication, printing, mailing, etc., that we can't find a local vendor for. And we support all of them and we shop with all of them. And so on top of that, Pioneer as a local agency is a local business. We're all right here in our communities, run by our communities. And so folks that join Pioneer are supporting local business as well. The next thing is our Green 100 option, which is a rate tariff option. I showed you all that on the chart. This was created in response to customers' requests. We had done a survey in 2020, and a high number of customers said we would like to have the ability and option to buy power from 100% renewable sources. And as a result, we created the Green 100 program. It is the only option in El Dorado and Placer counties and would be the only option in Nevada counties that's available to customers. It's 100% voluntary. Customers can choose. When you get automatically enrolled, you're enrolled in the standard rate. You can choose to join Pioneer. You can choose to join the Green 100 program. You could do it for a month. So, nope, I want to go back to standard, and you can go back to standard. It costs 1.088 cents per kWh. On an average customer, it's about $7. And like I showed you on the other chart, you're still saving money over the PG&E standard rate. So it's a good thing. Local control, Alice talked about being run by elected officials, which is a great thing. Not only do they're all very active in our organization, but when we're out and about in the community and we go to chamber events, we'll see Alice, for example, at Auburn events throughout the year. We see all the board members throughout all the events throughout the year. They're out representing the communities, and then they're partnering with Pioneer to get the word out to the communities. We ask them to make sure folks are aware of the benefits of Pioneer. We are community owned. Like I said, we work for you all. I mentioned to you all about a couple of our residential advisory committees. We had the Community Programs Advisory Committee. This is a group of 11 folks from El Dorado and Placer County that came together. I was the lead on that. And over the course of about 12 months, we came up with a report that they presented to the board of directors in which they recommended a variety of programs to be offered to our customers. And that presentation was actually done by the committee members. That report was written by the committee members. I mean, I did the typing and I did the writing, but they're the ones that did the editing and the inputting information and things of that nature. That is truly a community report, and the recommendations definitely came from the community. What we currently have going on right now is what we call our Customer Advisory Committee. And so we've been working with that group on, methods and things we can do to educate folks about the benefits of Pioneer, but also, again, additional program development conversations. And so if and when the time comes and we continue these advisory committees, when Grass Valley, Nevada City are part of our, community, our organization here, they'll be given the option to have, or opportunity to have, residents or business owners take part in these committees. We definitely value input from the community. The last bullet there is very important to me. From 2018, when we started, through the end of this year, 2023, we're expected to see customer savings of $86 million. And what I mean by that is your bill is lower than if you had stayed with PG&E. And the customer is saving $86 million, which is money that stays in your pocket, stays in your house, in your business, and it's resources that are available to you. And so that's how we provide financial benefits to the community, because we're not stockpiling our money. We're not looking for profits. We're trying to maximize how much you can save. 2018 through 2022, the savings were $40 million, over $40 million. In 2023, the projected savings are $46 million. And that's because we've expanded into El Dorado County, and the PCIA that I mentioned to you earlier has been dropped drastically and created significant savings for customers. This is almost my last slide here, and this is something I always get asked on, and that is, what's the difference between Pioneer and PG&E? Why should I go with you guys? A saying that we heard a lot on social media when we expanded in El Dorado County is, it's better to dance with the devil you know than the one you don't know. Well, as I told you all before, from July 1st through December 31st, you're going to get to know us. My goal is to make sure nobody can use that again. These are some of the major differences between us. We've already talked about Pioneer being a local controlled organization. PG&E has over 940 million shareholders. We're a not-for-profit. PG&E is a for-profit corporation. We answer to our ratepayers, the constituents and the communities that we serve. PG&E answers to Wall Street. I always tell people, and I've been in the utility world for 25 years, and I've worked for investor-owned utilities. The name and who is important to them is in the name of their organizations, and that's an investor-owned utility. They answer to their investors. We have local staff. I've already mentioned to you that we have folks that live in South Nevada County, North Placer County. I told you about my family and my kids and my folks living up there. Other people have family and whatnot that live in Grass Valley, Nevada County area, in that region. We are local. All of us live in this community that we serve. PG&E is Bay Area based. They have folks throughout. And I would tell you, I know in Grass Valley, there's a big PG&E facility office. The one thing we always tell people every day when I'm talking to them is the PG&E field crews are phenomenal. Those guys work very hard, especially up here where we deal with fire, snow, etc. Those individuals are local. Those individuals work hard on your behalf. Those individuals' jobs will be impacted zero, whether you're a Pioneer customer or a PG&E only customer, because again, they still provide you the power to your house, to your business. So it's not impacting our local PG&E field crews. And if you see them, thank them for their work, especially right now in the snow. Our meetings are public. Our board meetings are public. Our subcommittee meetings are public. You can come to any of those meetings and speak your mind. You get the 3-minute claim to fame, as I like to call it, whether it be just like at your city council meetings and your board of supervisor meetings. PG&E, I mentioned it last night in our other meeting that I actually tried to find out about a PG&E board meeting and see if I could attend it. And well, I couldn't even figure out when and where they're located, but I'm sure they're out there somewhere. Our thing is we have stable, competitive rates. We evaluate rates on an annual basis and we adjust them accordingly if we need to. I will tell you that in the last 4 years, we've had 2 rate increases. The prior 2 years before that, we didn't raise rates. PG&E, they raise rates multiple times a year. I can tell you in 2023, PG&E already did a rate increase in January. They already did a rate increase March 1st, and they've already submitted an application for a rate increase for June 1st. We're not even halfway through the year, folks, and we have 3 rate increases. Last year, PG&E, I believe, did 4 rate increases over the course of the year. So they continually change their rates. That is not our philosophy. We want you to know with some confidence what your rates are going to be with Pioneer for that year. We have 158,000 customers. PG&E has 5.5 million. I've heard from countless people. I've tried calling, I've raised issues, I don't get any response. I can't talk to a person. And with Pioneer, a lot of times people say, you know what I love about Pioneer is you guys actually answer your phone. If you call us, we get back to you. If we don't, I have to say, we're like any business, we have meetings. We will get back to people. We like to stay connected with folks. We like to help them out and resolve their issues as quickly as we can. And then the last thing there again is our customers have saved or will be saving $86 million through the end of 2023. And that is just something that we continue to be proud of and we continue to work for. And I know Alice would support that all the way. And so would the entire board. My last slide is this, and this is an invitation. This is again as a representation of us connecting with you all and our customers and our future customers and the constituents and ratepayers of Nevada City and Grass Valley and even Nevada County. We're asking folks to take a survey. This is a pre-expansion customer survey. We want to hear from you, your expectations. What's your likes and dislikes about your current, about PG&E? How can we do better than they do? What would you consider, a successful rollout? All kinds of stuff. This is unprecedented. Most folks don't do a pre-expansion customer survey, but this is something that we want to do because we want to come to you with the information you're looking for. And so this presentation will be available online. The QR code will be available online. You can snap this with your phone right now if you'd like to, but I'd encourage you and ask you to please take that survey. It would be very helpful for us and give us more knowledge and insight into Nevada City and Grass Valley and their expectations, because we want to meet your expectations. That's our objective. So with that, the last slide here is just my name and my contact information. That's my email, obviously. That phone number there is the direct line. Again, I'm in meetings a bunch of times, and when you call up, you can just ask if you could speak to a representative, customer care team person. There's myself and 2 other individuals on the team, and we'll be happy to help you out. And like I said, we are, probably somebody would be available. But now that I'm done, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to ask everyone to unmute their phones or their microphones. If you have questions, now's the time to ask. If you just want to have a conversation, I'm doing it group-wise because, again, I believe in this being a conversation, I'm not going to control the flow. What I would like to do before we get diving into the questions is turn it back to Alice to see if I've missed anything or if she would like to add on.
Hi, Mark. I think you did a great job. It was a great presentation, and I look forward to hearing if the folks online have any questions. But, I think really the bottom line here is that Pioneer Community Energy, we are local, and we are here to serve you. And really our priority is making sure that we can offer lower rates, and we're transparent, and we're very customer service oriented as well. I have people just right now on Facebook, there's a big giant chat about Pioneer, and I'm constantly referring folks to the website to take a look at it for themselves to see the savings that they can achieve with Pioneer. And again, it's local control, because if you have a question, it's as easy as going to your city council member or city council and asking the person who serves on the Pioneer Community Board of Energy for your city council, or of course calling Pioneer as well. But we're local control and local owned. So I look forward to serving you. And Mark, I turn it over to you and see if there's any questions.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So if anybody has a question, Reed, I see your hand is up. That's awesome. So if you want to go first, lead the charge.
Okay, I have two questions.
Okay.
I don't reside, I reside in the county, so I'm not going to be a customer immediately. I am part of the County Energy Action Plan work group. So the first question is, PG&E has various rates, such as the EV rate, which I have. I have solar and I am on the EV rate, which encourages me to diminish my use during the peak hours, 4 to 9 p.m., and to charge my car during the night. So the first question is, are there going to be rates that do that same sort of thing? So I'll let you answer that first.
Sure. Okay. I'm sorry. I was just making a note here. The answer to that question is yes. We have similar rates. Again, like I mentioned, PG&E, and I don't have the exact count, but I'm going to estimate 85 rates. We might have 65 rates. And so there are a couple that we've combined. So for example, we do have EV rates, but PG&E might have 10 street lighting rates and we have 1, that kind of stuff. So we've kind of tried to consolidate for simplicity's sakes. But EV, NEM, those kind of rates are going to slide right over. If you're on a time of use rate, and if your time of use is 5 to 9 with PG&E, it's 5 to 9 with Pioneer. The goal is to align on those kind of things so that you as a customer don't get overwhelmed and beyond confused, and you get the same benefits with both entities.
Okay, great. The second question is, I know other CCAs, and you mentioned community programs, have offered programs that encourage energy efficiency, weatherization, things like that to reduce energy usage. Does Pioneer have those things, or are you planning to? And are you prepared to work with local groups such as ours on encouraging those things?
So that was a 4-part question. So what I will tell you is that as of today, Pioneer does not have any standalone programs. However, like I mentioned, you're still eligible for all the PG&E specific programs. And so we would be helping customers be made aware of those. That being said, that the Customer Advisory Committee group and the Customer Programs Advisory Committee that did the presentation to the board recommended programs to the board. And so one of the things that this advisory committee is working on today is a good 3 or 4 programs that we're going to be taking to our board as part of our budget process, which takes, starting July 1st. And we're going to be asking for some allocation of funding to support programs. And if the board approves those programs and approves the commitment of those dollars to those programs, we'd be moving forward with that. On a similar path, but next door to it, shall we say, is we are pursuing taking ownership of the public purpose dollars that we all pay into through our rates with PG&E. That's where they fund their rebate programs from. So today we all pay into those funds. We all contribute a certain amount of dollars of our bill goes into a bucket for public purpose programs. That goes into PG&E and they can spend those anywhere they want in their service territories. So what CCAs have started doing, and Pioneer just had our contract approved with a vendor that's going to help us with that application process, is we're going to be applying to the California Public Utilities Commission to take ownership of those dollars from PG&E, take it back to us, and then those dollars will be committed and spent specifically in our communities. So the dollars that are being collected by our communities will be reinvested in our communities. Because today we could reinvest in the public purpose programs, and it might be funding an energy efficiency project in Napa Valley. I mean, that's a bad example, unfortunately, because they're marine clean energy, but it could be another community. Once we get ownership and control of those dollars, they'll stay in our towns, they'll stay in our communities. again, all of our programs that we're going to be rolling out, we're going to be presenting to the board and having them, approve the portfolio programs that we offer to our residents. So I would tell you that it is our 100% of our intention to design some programs. It's 100% of our intention to present that to the board. And as long as it makes fiscal sense, I would defer to Alice and the board. I can't speak on behalf of the board, but Alice, if you want to chime in on programs and the board's desires there, you certainly can, but that's to be seen, I guess that's the best way to say is, but we are working towards that objective. Absolutely 100%.
Thank you.
Sure. And Bob, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, let me try the video again. I have pretty funky video, so if I have to, I'll cut that out. First of all, thank you, Mark and Alice, for being here and making the presentation. I'm actually in Grass Valley, so I missed your presentation last night because I didn't know that you'd shifted to online. And I should also introduce myself. Mark, I think you spoke at the Grass Valley City Council, and I am on the City Council,
Yes.
so you've already got my vote.
I knew who you were when I saw you. Yes.
Okay. And hi, Alice. We haven't met yet, but I expect we will. I do know your former mayor. Anyways, Reed asked one of my questions, which was about the different tariff schedules and particularly time of use. I live in a co-housing community that installed, actually PG&E paid most of the cost of installing EV chargers for all 30 of our units. And 2 weeks after it went live, I bought my plug-in hybrid. So I'm an active user of a separate electrical system that they set up independent of our regular electrical system. And it has a time of use rate attached to it. So I think we would look forward to saving that half cent or penny, whatever it was, per kilowatt hour. That would save me 14 cents every time I recharge on my small battery. But the other question I have has to do with the Green 100 rates, or not rates, but sources. Our co-housing community might opt for that since part of our mission is to be as ecologically sound as we can in our lifestyle here. What I'm curious about is we normally think of green energy as being solar or wind, and that is subject to the vagaries of weather. What are your sources for Green 100 at nighttime?
So the sources for Green 100, I honestly can tell you, I don't have that specific information, but I will definitely be able to get you all of that. We definitely buy from a variety of sources. So there's solar that has backup. There's solar generators out there that have battery backups that can provide off hours. Just like at your house, you could have solar with a backup battery. There are large producers that have huge banks of batteries to do that. I do know there's wind. I do know there's hydro and things of that nature. I cannot give you the exact breakdown, unfortunately, but I'm happy to get that information. And knowing that you're on the council, I'll be happy to shoot that over to Tim and you, and then you can share it with whomever. It's just a matter of me sending the email to the right folks and getting that breakdown for you, because and that is something that if anybody else is interested in, just feel free to give me a call and say, Mark, I'd like to see your breakdown of renewable sources. Because again, we kind of go out and we do EID for the water, we do the biomass down in Lincoln, DCWA with the water. We have to meet, when we talk about green, we have to meet the state's definition of renewable. Large hydro versus small hydro.
Yeah, I've always been baffled that hydro doesn't count as green.
Well, you and pretty much anybody else that buys electricity. I think Alice wants to follow up a comment to what your original statement was. Alice, are you got your hand up to say something?
There we go. I could not unmute myself. So
I
I
thought
was
so. That's why I
stuck,
clicked
was
it for you.
frozen. But here I am. I just wanted to say hi to Bob, and I would encourage you, the city of Auburn, as a customer in itself, actually subscribes to the Green 100 program. And so we are the first jurisdiction to do so within Pioneer. And I always encourage my colleagues to do that because it also assists with our AB 32 mandates, right, as established by the state of California. So it's an easy way to help ensure that we comply with that and do what's good for the environment. And it's really cheap for the city of Auburn as a customer. I think we spend $11,000 extra to have green renewable power for the city itself. And so, when you're talking about reducing that carbon footprint, that's a pretty darn cheap way of doing it. Otherwise you're having to do it other ways that cost more money. So just kind of a little tip for you to share with your council. I've been encouraging others to do the same. So, and welcome. And Mark is right. Rates are really important, and making sure that, any programs that we have, we want to make sure that we can balance that with maintaining that lower rate. That's what we're hearing mostly from customers, is to keeping that rate down. But we have a whole myriad of programs that have been suggested to us by our community citizens advisory committee. And so at our meeting in December, we asked staff to look into some of those and to bring some back during the normal budgetary process, so we can look to implement a few as long as they're cost effective and we can continue to keep our rates down. But welcome, Bob. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
And thanks for the tip.
Yeah, it's I don't know how your council is, if that's important or to your colleagues, but it's a way to meet that AB 32 compliance in a cheap and effective and responsible manner.
I don't even know what an AB 32 requirement is, so
Well,
I made a note of it.
That's the whole greenhouse gas emission and carbon footprint reduction requirements that were enacted. Oh gosh, in
Years ago.
5.
Yeah.
Many years ago.
I think it was like 5 or 6. Yeah.
Yeah, quite a while ago. But in any event, if your council's interested, I would certainly encourage you to do that. We've done that at the city of Auburn. So.
Okay. We did put in a solar facility a number of years ago that apparently makes our usage of electricity pretty neutral. But I don't know where that stands now.
Great. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you very much for that, Alice. And it's interesting, Alice's comment about the cost effectiveness of programs. We just completed a customer satisfaction survey literally a month or so ago. And one of the comments was, customers said, we are interested in programs as long as it doesn't make our rates go higher. And so that is something that we have to be mindful of. And so, but again, these public purpose dollars, we all pay into it, whether it's Alice and me down in Auburn or Nevada City, Grass Valley folks, whomever, we all pay into it. It goes down to PG&E and they do whatever with it. Once we take control of that, that is a zero impact to Pioneer's costs, because it's money that's already being put somewhere else. We hope to take ownership of that, and then we can launch some programs that have zero impact financially to Pioneer. And so
free money doesn't come often.
Well, it's not free to you and I because we're paying it, but PG&E's giving it to somebody down the hill and we don't get to see the benefits of it. And it's a significant opportunity for us to make an impact here where we live. And so we're very excited about that.
Yeah.
And just so you all know, we just have started that process. We literally are having a kickoff meeting in a couple of days because the contract was just approved. The PUC's process is about 6 to 8 months, unfortunately. So it'll probably be about the time you all start becoming our customer that we start, as long as it's approved by the PUC, we'll be starting to collect those dollars and being able to move forward, pending board approval of that, of course. But Are there any other questions? Bob, did we answer all of yours?
Yeah, I just had two questions and Rita had asked one of them already.
Okay.
So,
And again, our goal is to be there in May to do an in-person town hall meeting, kind of again to re-educate, to continue the education process. And then in July-ish, we'll start pushing out. But I would strongly request if any of you have organizations, clubs, et cetera, that you feel would benefit from this, please don't hesitate to let me know. And, Bob, if you can't get a hold of me, I'm going to just say, get a hold of Alice. And I'm sorry, Alice, for committing you to that. But
That's okay. Bob, Jan and I served together on the board of directors for the League of Cities. So
okay.
she has my cell phone number.
And more importantly, Jan is friends with my parents. And so if she needs to get a hold of me, tell her to call my parents.
Well,
So-
I'm in my second year on the League's Environmental Quality Policy Committee, and this is right up that alley. So there's some overlap.
Wonderful. Well, are there any other questions before we end this? I want to give everybody a chance. And you all had my phone number. You have the website. I would strongly encourage you all to go look at the website for more information. There's resources there, as well as contact information. We're happy to continue this conversation and dialogue throughout the course of the entire year and even beyond. So
Well,
if
my
I don't,
only other question is pretty specific to Grass Valley, which is how many people showed up at the online meeting last night?
Mm.
I believe I saw 9 people.
Okay, good.
And that wasn't a bad number. It was just the last minute change in the weather. We knew it was going to
Yeah.
be, that's why we want to do it again in May, in person again, because the goal is to get, I can tell you that through this course of these 45 meetings we did in Eldoret County, the attendance ranged from 10 to over 100, depending upon the time of day, the date of the week, where we're at. I would expect the same thing in Grass Valley, Nevada City.
Yeah,
And that's okay. Because if I tell you and you tell 5 of your friends, they might come to the next meeting or this meeting's recorded and going to be on our website. So quite frankly, give us a few days to get it uploaded, of course, because we got to clean it up. But they can go watch this meeting tomorrow, in a couple of days if they don't want to wait, or they can come to the next meeting. You can sign up for a newsletter, and for all of you, that's a great thing to do is sign up for our newsletters, because when things are happening, you'll get a notification that, hey, we're going to be doing an event in Nevada County. We're going to be doing an event. We might come to the fair, Nevada County Fair, or whatever it is, and we'll be telling people about it. And we're going to be present. We want it's just a way to get them more information out there. So, but thank you all again for your time
okay.
and your interest.
Thank you for the
Yes, sir.
presentation.
Well,
Good to see you, Bob.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay,
you all have a wonderful night. Stay safe up there. And the rest of the week, I understand we're getting another round of storms. So
Yeah.
thank you much.
All
And
right.
we'll
okay.
see you around town, literally.
Yeah, good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.